For this video, I actually managed to film how I feed Tsonga before I start the actual session. I do this every time so that the context becomes a very positive experience by just being the context without anything happening yet. I sped this part up because there's literally nothing happening here apart from him eating and me filling up my treats, but I didn't want anything to get lost. Ah yes, that's just me holding onto his withers for support while I empty my shoe. Iconic. I say this jokingly, but at the same time that's a big deal. As you might know, he does not like to be touched. You can see my first impulse was to actually sit on, but then I decided to only lean, and that was a good decision because there was too much happening around him, so he got overwhelmed even by me leaning on him. And another sped up section because I was talking to my friend, which was actually good because it gave Tsonga some time to reset. I did take a step back by just touching him with my hands after leaning on him, but his nervous system was obviously still overwhelmed, so he didn't like that either. Here's your example of how he communicates when he really doesn't like to be touched. He had just told me that information nicely by tail swishing and moving away, but I obviously hadn't listened. Luckily, this is when I finally heard it, and that's why I took another step back and just sat there. As much as I would have liked myself to listen to him the first time, I tried to take this as input instead of beating myself up. It's only a subtle one, but this is another step forward again, where I moved from the less threatening position of sitting next to him on the mounting block to standing. Now I dare to touch him again on his neck, where it's the least threatening to his nervous system. I could have just ended the session here, and looking back I probably should have, but at the same time a lot of good things happened after this, so I'm kinda glad that I didn't. Also worth mentioning, my treat throwing skills are improving. It feels like there's nothing happening here again, but at the same time this horse is not able to just hang out at all times, so this is very nice, especially with all the wind, a potential trigger for spooking. What looked like regression at first, from being able to touch his back to not even being able to hold my hands up without being a threat, now we're back to calmly standing there while I can touch his withers. I know, it's sped up again, but I just don't want to bore anyone by me standing around and refilling my treats. See, even Tsonga was bored and left the station. I tried to guide him back by just using my body and putting treats in the bucket, but that wasn't enough. I had to get the nose target to direct him back into position. I promise I'll be back in frame in no time. He had to check again if there's anything left in the bucket, which is fair enough. Yeah, we're kinda understanding the context of target, but ooh, there's an interesting mounting block with potential treats in the way. Can't blame him. Impeccably executed parking. Not a lot of people can do that. The ear flopping that you can see here is actually a reaction of his nervous system to sensory input from the touch. I I could imagine it feels a bit like being tickled or shivering. It's probably due to his sensory nerves being extra sensitive. At this point he was confused again, but he handled it very calmly. I am beginning to be more daring to touch different parts of his body, and I'm glad he's okay with it. More confident again that I will listen to him, he is now going back to subtle forms of communication, such as just taking the head out of the bucket to communicate that he needs a break. He is starting to give me more duration again, and that's because I listened before and he trusts that I will stop if he needs me to. He is saying enough by shifting his weight back and taking his head out of the bucket, and that's why I stop the touch. He is taking a bit longer to come back to the bucket this time, so I just wait for him to be ready. It was the right decision that I didn't go any step further because he was so irritated by all the stimuli in the beginning. So the focus of this session was just to make it a good experience and not necessarily to make any big progress. It still counts as progress though, what we achieved here, that he is calm now, even though the very busy environment. What I am doing here is giving proprioceptive input to his nervous system and connecting his spine by touching 2 points of it. And that's it. Bucket on the ground, end of session.